Presented by Geico under the lights at Husky Stadium. The Utah Utes in town performing the customary pregame haka. It's the 11th meeting all time between these two schools, and the Huskies poised and ready to get back on the winning track tonight. Here's a look at the standings in the Pac-12 North. Stanford taking on Cal right now, leading by 3. Washington State, the only team that controls its own destiny. The Huskies need a Stanford loss and to beat Washington State next week in the Apple Cup game. That great rivalry. Rod Gilmore, it's November.
Yeah.
Middle of the month, so much still to be decided. Quinn Kesnick down in the field. He's joining us in just a bit. Washington came into the year as a college football playoff candidate. They've got a couple of losses. They've had to pivot, but a lot to play for still.
Well, that's the thing that everybody wants to know. How do they react to losing to Stanford last week and maybe not having a shot at the Pac-12 North? Listen, the coaches have been telling us all week that they've been focused. They've had energetic practices. We'll see tonight if they've pivoted from the Pac-12 North to just playing the game tonight.
Hey, one guy that's really psyched up to play tonight and bounce back, Jake Browning, the key cog offensively for them at quarterback. He and Myles Gaskin on the verge of rewriting the Husky record book.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. This is not the quick strike offense that you might remember from last season. This is a different style. This is really run by efficient passing by Jake Browning. He's done very well this season. He's sitting on a possible record tonight. And then Myles Gaskin. I mean, he's the core of this rushing attack that they now rely on. This is his 3rd straight season with more than 1,000 yards rushing, and he may get another record himself tonight.
So many great running backs have come through Washington. Folks, it's not Peaches and Herb, but we are reunited, and it feels so good tonight. Quinn has more on that great story on the other side of this. Watching the Pac-12 on ESPN. From the Emerald City, Seattle, it's Washington against Utah, the 11th edition of this meeting. And Utah trying to get back on the winning track, as are the Washington Huskies. And Quinn, a big night for Jake Browning and a reunion with his high school coach.
Yeah, Washington quarterback Jake Browning and Utah offensive coordinator Troy Taylor have a connection that dates back more than a decade. You see, when Browning was 10 years old, he learned the position of quarterback from Troy Taylor, personal coach, basically. Taylor would ultimately be the head coach at Folsom High School, and he and Browning rewrote the record book in the state of California. The teacher-pupil relationship has grown into a friendship and really family. Taylor called Browning an old soul, and he's actually been to 3 of Jake's games as a fan. Well, tonight he's upstairs, Jake's downstairs on the field. They're on opposite sides of the field.
Yeah, great story, Q, and it was interesting to hear Browning say, yeah, I hope Troy Taylor calls all the wrong plays just this week.
Hey, wish them the worst of luck this week. Crazy. You know, that's fascinating. Both these guys have to have some anxiety, you know, about facing each other because they are so close. We'll see if that impacts anything.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Got to be a little bit odd. Meanwhile, Chris Peterson, head coach, says that there's still so much to play for. 8-2 on the season and hoping for that Stanford loss tonight. And then somehow if they beat Washington State in the Apple Cup game next week, they would have a shot at playing in the Pac-12 championship game. Meanwhile, Kyle Whittingham, the head coach at Utah, trying to get his team back into the win column. Coming off a loss last week against Washington State. Been a very streaky, up and down, inconsistent type of year for them. Winning their first 4, losing their next 4, and then splitting the next 2 after that. Utah won the toss. They defer to the second half. Washington will receive.
This is the most exciting play in college football. The kickoff is also the most dangerous.
Ahmed back deep, number 26. He's one of the faster players on this Husky roster. Trying to get to the edge and brought down at the 27-yard line. Where it'll be 1st and 10. Brian Thompson making the tackle on Ahmed. Jake Browning, the starting quarterback, completing 68% of his passes on the season. There's a look at his numbers. 6'2", 210 pounds. The only true freshman to start here as a Husky at quarterback. Does everything, interestingly enough, left-handed, but throw the football. And tonight, as we mentioned, facing his mentor and family member / friend, Troy Taylor. First down and 10 Huskies from the 28. Little bootleg action. Browning has all day for Pettis. And it's a catch. Kept a foot in bounds at the 38. He was working against Jalen Johnson on the play.
How does he do this? This is a double move, but watch the catch at the end. Extends his hands out of bounds. Look at that. Great placement by Browning, a back shoulder throw, and tremendous hands by Pettis.
Got one of the top receivers in the conference. Picking up 32 yards right there. Levon Coleman is in the backfield now. This is Coleman. No room on the left side of that offensive line. Running behind Wattenberg and Andrew Copeland.
So who has the advantage in the Troy Taylor versus Jake Browning spy game, since they know each other so well, have known each other for 10+ years?
Still trying to figure that out. I think it's a push.
I mean, you got Browning, who knows this system at Utah, who could tell the defensive coaches a thing or two, but you got Troy Taylor, who knows exactly how Browning thinks, and he can tell his defensive guys.
No, I'm going to tell you, I think Taylor might have the edge. He knows the DNA of Browning since he was 10 years old. Here he is on the move. Got a nice block and slides in safely at the 34-yard line. Q about 4 yards shy of the first down.
Gentlemen, Utah is operating in this game tonight without 3 starters on defense, and 3 good ones. Chase Hansen, strong safeties, out. Kylie Fitz, their best defensive end, did not make the trip. And Casey Hughes, a corner, also not going to play tonight. 3 starters for the Utes on defense are out.
But a tough year for them on both sides of the football. Utah trying to get that 6th win to become bowl eligible. That's the goal tonight. They've got 2 games left to do it. 3rd down and 5 for the Huskies. Browning, backside heat, and he fumbled it. Got hit. Still loose. No signal yet, but there was a big hit by Bradley Anai.
You know, Jonesy, I can't tell who has it, but I do know one thing. I know that the left side of that line has been an issue for Washington ever since Trey Adams got hurt.
Yeah, Washington football run on the football fumble recovery right here.
Yeah, you see Luke Wattenberg, 76, gets beat to the outside. Blind side, he couldn't protect. But that's been an issue for them week after week.
Joel Whitford right there, punting, averaging 40.8 yards per punt this year. Boobie Hobbs standing on his own 10-yard line for the Utes. Whitford with the nose of the football down. And this is going to be a great punt. It'll be down at about the 6-yard line. So the sophomore quarterback Tyler Huntley will be 94 yards away after the 35-yard punt. Nothing on the return for the Utes. Tyler Huntley is a 6'1 sophomore out of Dania, Florida. He is the former high school player of the year in the state of Florida. State rich with high school football talent. Missed 2.5 games with a shoulder injury. Before his injury, Rod, they had gone 4-0. They were in a great rhythm.
Yeah, it's taking him a little while to get back into that flow and rhythm. You can tell he's getting better every week, but he's coming off a week where they had 7 turnovers against Washington State.
The goal tonight, take care of the football. So says Whittingham. They run it to Zach Moss, who was a high school teammate of Tyler Huntley. But Rod, getting back to Washington, their state of mind right now coming into this game to work that a little bit more.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because Coach Pete told us that this week, you know, he thought his guys would get through this. That the goal of winning the Pac-12, they don't talk about it all the time.
2nd down and 8, Huntley. Pass incomplete, intended for Siosi Wilson.
So, Jonesy, Chris Peterson says they talk about national championship and winning the Pac-12 before the season. And then when they get to the season, all they talk about is playing for your teammate, playing for your seniors, and leading the program in a better place. He thinks those things will kind of sustain you, kind of zen-like, like right. Steve Kerr or Phil Jackson stuff.
He might be lighting up some of that incense in the locker room, getting the guys to meditate too. 3rd and 8. Huntley, is that going to be a safety?
Where was the
football? Where the forward progress was.
Well,
Troy McCormick tackled close to the end zone. Ryan Bowman made the tackle. They're going to mark it just outside the end zone at the 1.
Yeah, one official immediately came running in, marking it about the half-yard line. Yeah, he gets pushed back. His momentum was in the field of play. That's a good call by the officials.
That was a loss of 6 on the play, so they're going to be backed up here. And folks, keep an eye on Dante Pettis, number 8 for the Washington Huskies, sitting around midfield right now. The punt coming from Mitch Wisnowski, the Ray Guy Award winner, up against the best college punt returner all time. Pettis brings it all the way back to the 32-yard line. He's got 9 career punt returns for touchdowns, and Booby Hobbs took him out of bounds. 1st and 10 when we come back to Seattle. We're here at Husky Stadium in Seattle for a great game and a beautiful night here in the Emerald City at Alaska Airlines Field, Husky Stadium. 11th meeting all time between these two teams. The only win that the Utes have came a couple of years ago here in Seattle. There's a look at quarterback Jake Browning, starting off with good field position after that Dante Pettis punt. 1st and 10 from Utah's 32.
You know, Jonesy, whenever you play a Chris Peterson coach team, you have to be alert for trickeration, particularly when you are on the plus side of the 50, 32-yard line here. You never know when you'll get a reverse, a double pass, something unusual just to keep you off your game.
Going back to his days as head coach at Boise State, that was one of his signatures. Myles Gaskin in the backfield. He's set to the left. And now repositions. Gaskin on the sweep. And the Utes bring him down just shy of the 30-yard line. It's Leki Fotu with a tackle, a 2-yard gain on the play.
Remember last year we watched Washington and they were the quick strike team. John Ross was scoring all types of touchdown passes, and he had 43 touchdown passes from Browning. That's not this team now. They are more of a run-oriented, grind-it out, and Browning being efficient with his passes, much shorter passes.
2nd down and 8. Browning, the former high school player of the year in the state of California. Gaskin trying to get to the edge. Great move. And stopped about a yard and a half short of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd and short coming up. He put a move on Julian Blackman on the 7-yard gain.
Well, he's got some moves. He is a quick change of direction, great balance running back. Not a big guy, but a guy who can make you miss in a very, very limited space.
Remember, we talked about the fact at the top of the show his next rushing touchdown will set a school record. He's at 37 right now. When you think about the great backs that have come through the doors here at the University of Washington, that's quite a distinction. 3rd and 1, and they're in field goal range. Little play action, complete. Gaskin showing off his receiving skills, picking up the 1st down at the 19-yard line, a pickup of 4. And they move the chains.
Just a good outlet receiver here. He's got really good hands. Where does he get to with the football? How about the 21? That looked like that was marked
favorably.
Yeah, like almost by 2 yards.
It's one of those inexact sciences that are part of the game. 1st and 10. Browning hands it off in the jet sweep. Ahmed. Savon Ahmed might be the fastest player on their roster. And a nice gain for him. Picked up 4 on the play. 2nd and 6. Levon Coleman is the lone back. Coleman between the tackles right up the middle, and tackled at the 13 by Bradley Anai.
Well, Jonesy, you remember Quint mentioned the issues, the injuries in the secondary for Utah with Hansen out and Casey Hughes out at corner. Well, this is the area of the field where, you know, Gary Pettis is there. Dante Pettis.
I was bound to say that too.
Yeah, well, since we know Gary
Famous
Pettis.
dad,
His dad, yeah. But Dante is the go-to guy down here. You got to have him on the field for that.
Bunch formation. Browning comes that way. Ahmed brought down right around the first down marker. It's going to be close. Let's see how they spot this. And they're going to give him the first down. First and goal from the 9, Q.
Guys, I get the feeling that Washington's trying to attack the perimeter of this Utah defense. Pretty stout defensive line-wise, the Utes are inside. And Oregon had some success getting to the edge against this Utah defense, and that's what it looks like so far. A lot of perimeter runs.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, also the weakness is back in the secondary. You know, you're not going to run inside too well on them too much.
Myles Gaskin at tailback back in the ball game for Coleman. It's Gaskin right up the middle. Broke the tackle. Touchdown.
Except when you do.
A new school record.
Jonesy, this is just their base running play. This is power. They block down to the left. They pull around Kirkland, their left guard. He leads, and then Gaskins gets in behind him. If you can't stop that play, you won't stop the Huskies. That is bread and butter for them.
He ran right through Karan Ballard and Bradley Anai. At just 5'10", really got his giddy up on and showed a lot of power. The extra point is no good. Tristan Vizcaino missed it. But back to Gaskin. That touchdown run was his 38th rushing touchdown. That's a new school record. And it's his 14th of the season. On pace to get somewhere back around 1,300 yards again this year.
ESPN College Football is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And in part by the Mini Countryman. Get more of what matters.
One of the great scenes in college football and one of the more unique ways to get to the game here on Lake Washington. You can get in your boat, your yachts.
Early, you get in it early and then just hang out all day until the game at night.
Nothing like sailgating before the game here at Husky Stadium. On the kick, this is Simpkins, Damari Simpkins, trying to get loose. Land, boat, sea. Adnan always gets there, right? All right, Adnan. Here's a look at Tyler Huntley back in for the second time this game. Had a rough start, a quick 3 and out. They went backwards on their first series. Zach Moss is the tailback beside him, his former high school teammate at Hallandale High School in South Florida. First down and 10. Huntley completes the pass to Harrison Hanley for the first down. Yeah, he'll tell you. Q?
Darren Carrington, Utah's best offensive player and leading receiver with 58 receptions, hasn't played in a game and a half. He's here and dressed, but he warmed up gingerly. He was kind of hobbled, and he has not played yet in this ball game. Yeah,
Q, he didn't look too sturdy in warm-ups. This is Moss. Leave it to him, though. He picks up another first down with some determined running. Brought down by JoJo McIntosh, but he picks up 11. This was the scene of Carrington in pregame warm-ups. Rod, that's not what you want to see.
No, it's a right foot. It appears to be a heel or something, and missing him is a huge problem because he tilts the field. You have to double him, and without him out there, it really hurts Utah's passing attack.
Devontae Cole is the tailback now in for Moss. Huntley keeps it himself and picks up 3. Huntley actually graduated early from Hallandale High School in South Florida and enrolled in January of 2016. Played sparingly last year, just 4 games, only threw the ball 7 times, but back in the summer was named the starter. And got this team off to a great start at 4-0. Delivers a strike to the 48-yard line. That's Raylan Singleton with the catch.
Well, he's a true dual threat quarterback. He's not one of these guys who simply, can run. He's got a strong arm. He's learning to be better in the pocket. He's at his best throwing when he's on the move, particularly to his right.
Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator for the Huskies, says we haven't faced anyone like him this year. Has a unique skill set. This is Cole again, and Cole is going to be stopped up for a 1-yard gain and 1 yard shy of the first down. They are in a good part of the field to go for it here, Rod.
Well, the first problem is you run inside against this defense. You've got Greg Gaines, 99, sitting inside there, and Vita Vea. And Gaines makes that play. You got 670 pounds of beef. I don't know what you think, but moving beef that heavy, that's not easy.
You better have been in the weight room a bunch. They're going to go for it here on 4th and 1.
Stay away from the beef, right?
They're rolling up their sleeves. They're going to run it. Moss. Let's see what kind of spot they're going to give him. Zach Moss on the run, and it looks like they're going to give him the first down. According to our line, Zach Moss picked up the first down. So Coach Whittingham rolls the dice here early in the ballgame. Rod, what do you make of that move?
Well, he's got nothing to lose. I'm all for it. Remember, they need one win this week or next week to get into a bowl game. You should be a little aggressive, take some chances. Now, Carrington just stepped on the field. I don't know how many plays he has in him, but you better find out soon if he can do something.
There he is at the top of the screen. Carrington, number 8. Huntley looking his way. And now he's going to take off. Huntley took a hit right near the line of scrimmage by number 24, Ezekiel Turner, and 29, Connor O'Brien.
So the thing with Carrington, if he had issues warming up and you get him into the game, you don't want him to get cold. You've got to use him and find out what he can do. So don't waste him and have him as a decoy for 3 or 4 plays. If he's got something to give you, you better find out.
That tips off the defense a little bit, though, doesn't it?
Doesn't matter. He's pretty good.
Okay. Transfer from Oregon. Was very productive there. 2nd and 10. Huntley keeps it. Broke a tackle, made a great spin move, and picked up about 6. It'll be 3rd down and 4 to go. Mentioned Huntley only played in 4 games last year, and one of 3 players from the same high school on offense for the Utes. Talked about Moss and Damari Simpkins, wide receiver as well.
How do you get guys from Miami, South Beach, to go to Salt Lake City?
2 words. Dennis Erickson, the former Hurricanes coach and former associate head coach here at Utah anyway. Huntley, slant, complete. Singleton, touchdown Utes! Tyler Huntley delivered a strike for the touchdown.
What an accurate throw and a great route by Singleton, who got inside. Just a quick slant, and this ball was put in the perfect place for him to not break stride. Watch this. We talked about him being a dual threat guy, but really a good quarterback, a good passer. Right on the money, and you get Singleton inside. All she wrote.
For Huntley, that's the 14th touchdown pass of the season for him. Singleton with his 3rd touchdown catch, and the Utes, by virtue of the missed extra point by the Huskies, take a 7-6 lead in the first quarter. From South Florida all the way to Seattle, Tyler Huntley shining tonight for the Utes. Back after this. Tuesday on ESPN, it's the exclusive reveal of the College Football Playoff Top 25 rankings. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Reese and the gang breaking them down from top to bottom. Coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Kirby Hocutt. Also available streaming live on the ESPN app. And what a drive that was by that quarterback, Tyler Huntley, the sophomore from Utah. 9 plays, 79 yards, a little over 4:07 on the clock. An onside kick is going to be recovered by the Utes. And the kicker, Mitch Wisnowski. They caught the Huskies napping.
Wait, talk about trickeration. You think of Chris Peterson, but Kyle Whittingham has got something up his sleeve. Being very aggressive. Keep in mind they went for it on a 4th down. They get a slant pass for a touchdown, and then they jump all over this. Washington not at all paying attention.
Wisnowski, the punter and kicker there, recovering the onside kick.
An extra possession for Utah.
The Ray Guy Award winner from a season ago making a big play there. First down and 10. Hundley again on the slant. This is Carrington with his first reception and appeared to be moving decently, Rod.
Well, this is a defense that plays a lot of 3 deep coverage. So there are a lot of gaps in there. When you do play action and you get those linebackers up there, huge holes behind the linebackers and in front of the safety in the corners.
Carrington onto the ball game after that first down reception from the 37-yard line. Huntley hands it off to Zach Moss. Moss picks up a yard on the play.
And Jonesy, that touchdown pass to Singleton was against essentially 3 deep coverage. You know, the short side of the field is typically where that matchup is going to be good by the way Washington plays their defense. So I expect Utah to come back again and work the short side of the field when they expect to get 3 deep coverage, because it turns into man coverage up there.
See what Huntley does here. Hits the middle of the field. The pass and catch complete. Fakialoa Tonga with the catch. And another first down with under 2 minutes to go now in the first quarter. An 11-yard gain. Carrington back in the ball game for the Utes.
And again, he's to that short side of the field, and that's where the matchup tends to be a little bit better for you.
Hundley hands it off to Moss, looking for the edge on that boundary side, and picks up a few yards on the play. Austin Joyner making the tackle, a gain of 2 from Zach Moss, sophomore out of Hallandale High School as well. He gained 8 pounds during the offseason, become much more of an all-purpose back this year. His goal at the start of the year was to eclipse the 1,000-yard mark.
Yep.
Second down and 8. Flag down on the play. Huntley took a hit. He got rocked from the backside by Burkervin. And as I said, there's a flag down at the 25 on the near side.
And Burkervin came in, and I'm not sure.
Offside, defense number 1. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
That's going to go against Murphy, who's playing his first game in several weeks, returning from an injury.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's in game shape yet. First full week back at practice after having had that issue with his foot.
Yeah, had a broken foot. Back on the field, 2nd and 4 for Utah. Moss again cuts it north-south and brought down closer to the first down marker. A gain of about 4 on the play.
You know, we were talking to Troy Taylor, the offensive coordinator for Utah, before the game, and he said, look, he's got to be patient with running the ball inside. He knows that it's tough to run against Vea and Gaines, but that he wants to be patient and stay after it. And so far, his guys up front are doing a good job against those big guys.
3rd and 1. High snap. Huntley going to try and do it himself. Took out his do-it-yourself kit and gets the first down. Bieria making the tackle on the play. Keyshawn Bieria, but it's going to be a first down for the Utes. Moving the chains again with 21 seconds to go here in the first quarter of play. Remember, this Husky defense leads the Pac-12 in total defense, scoring defense, passing defense, and rushing defense, only giving up 13 points a game.
Last week was the first off week that they've had. Tonight they've given up the first 40-yard plus play of the season. So, not a good start for the Huskies defense tonight.
End of the first 15 minutes. We'll be back right after this.
the New Year's Six and the College Football Playoff.
Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual and the College Football Playoff at the All-State Sugar Bowl January 1st. A couple of huge games amongst others beginning on December the 29th. Great time of the year for college football. 1st and 10 Utes from the 13. Huntley at the inside pitch and stopped immediately by Keyshawn Bierria. Troy McCormick got leveled right away, a loss of 1, Quint.
Utah, one advantage that they may have tonight in the red zone, tall wide receivers. A bunch of guys 6'2", 6'3", or taller against some short Washington corners. Stanford had some success on jump balls. Let's see if the Utes use a similar plan.
Yeah, Q, I think you're right in that matchup. Again, short field, you've got Singleton down there at 6'3".
Huntley hands it off to McCormick. Flag. And McCormick brought down right around the 5-yard line by JoJo McIntosh with a big, booming hit. McIntosh, one of those leaders defensively for the Huskies. Here's the call.
Holding, offense number 70, 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Let's take one more look at the hit by JoJo McIntosh, number 14 in the secondary.
Yeah, really big hit. Oh, my goodness. He led with the crown of his helmet right in the chest. That is not a defenseless player, but that is leading with the crown.
Interesting that we saw Washington hasn't had a targeting call go against them all year, Rod.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that hasn't been stopped yet.
I mean, that was all of the crown of his hat.
Yeah, this is leading with the crown and launching. You see the
play
jump.
Is under review for a potential targeting foul.
Yeah, I would be shocked if that's not targeting, Rod. I mean, you see the launch and the crown.
Yeah,
that's 2 variables right there.
That's as clear as a launch as you will get, and you need a factor like that. It's not simply the crown, but you need a factor that shows that there's some intent, and launching is that factor. Is one of the factors, I should say. Now, you have to remember, this is intended for the safety of the game and the players, not just the runner. The tackler also, when you lower your head and expose your neck like that, that's not good.
McIntosh, one of the leaders on that defensive unit. Coach says he often checks in with them to take the pulse of the defense and the entire team. Here's one more look at the hit that's being reviewed.
Now, you know, Jonesy, I've always said the way to get around that if you're a tackler, lead with your shoulder and wrap up. When you wrap up, you get to a safety zone. You know, you're doing everything you can to make a clean tackle and get your head out of the way. And I think a lot of officials look at it that way, although the rule is not written that way about wrapping up. But we want people to wrap up and lead with the shoulder.
It's a deal that's evolving and continues to evolve over the years as we look for the player safety to become even more paramount. So while they review this, I was talking about the fact earlier that Washington, you get to this point of the season, 10 games in, they haven't had a targeting call against them all year. That sounds pretty rare to me.
Yeah, they've been flagged a couple of times, but it's been wiped off each time, ruled not to be targeting. So they have not had one against them.
JoJo McIntosh, the 6'1" junior out of California. The ruling on the field was no targeting. They didn't make a call initially.
After review, number 14 of the defense committed a personal foul, targeting foul with the crown of his helmet. Number 14 is disqualified from the game. The holding foul by the offense, the 2 penalties offset, replay 2nd down at the previous spot.
That's a big loss for them in the secondary. He's one of their leaders back there, and he's done for the night.
But it is the right call.
Yeah. That looked to be about as classic a case of targeting as you can have. 2nd and 11. They spot the ball back at the 14. High snap. Huntley going to try and run it himself. Spins forward and falls forward to the 11-yard line. Verkerven again in on another tackle. Now you see Huntley take those hits. He was injured in the 4th game of the season against Arizona and missed the next 2 games.
It's a shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's not a guy who shies away from contact. This is a quarterback run-designed offense complemented by his strong arm, his ability to throw. Next season, when he's had a full year already in this offense, he could be pretty special.
And he's told everybody willing to listen that, hey, we're going to get to a bowl game. Almost guaranteeing it. Huntley got drilled at the 10-yard line.
That's Greg
Tevis
Gaines.
Bartlett and Greg Gaines on the hit.
Yeah,
1-yard gain.
Again, you're talking about 322 pounds. This guy's an NFL player. He just throws away his blocker, slides over with a big play. He is a tough load to handle inside, and you put him with Vea, that's a problem.
In for this field goal attempt, it's Matt Gay. They've kicked a lot of field goals this year.
That's
an inordinate amount.
Good news and bad news.
Yeah. This one from 28 yards out, and he drills it through. Utah leading 10-6 with 12:47 to go here in the 2nd quarter. Back to Seattle right after this. Feats Cal. That goes final just a few moments ago, 17-14. That means that Washington has been eliminated from contention of winning the Pac-12 North Division. It's either Washington State or Stanford now, Rod.
Yeah, not good news for Washington or Washington fans. A new king of the North this season. It's either going to be Washington State or it's going to be Stanford. And the Apple Cup becomes really, really big now for Cougar fans now, thinking in terms of getting a North title.
And Washington, I guess, reduced to the role of spoiler in that game coming up next weekend. Well, Utah did not attempt another onside kick. They did get a field goal out of the last onside kick.
Kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
They'll start off from the 35-yard line. Folks, stream every ESPN and ABC college football game live or at home or on the go. You'll get access to scores, news, highlights all season long. Download the ESPN app to start streaming now, and that is a vital part of my phone, Rod Gilmore, and my iPad and my computer.
That's why I can't get you off the beach in South Beach.
Hey.
Got your phone, you're working it.
Watch it while I'm working out. 1st and 10. Myles Gaskin in the backfield. And Gaskin gains about 2 yards on the play. And if you're just joining us, the Utes were shaky on their first offensive sequence. It was a 3-and-out. Washington took a 6-0 lead. They missed the extra point. Gaskin setting a school record with his 38th rushing touchdown. But then the onside kick after the previous score led to the lead.
Onside kick led to 3 points.
Yeah. 2nd down and 7. Browning hands it off to Coleman, and Coleman picks up the first down at the 47-yard line. Rod, let me ask you, what do you make of the way that Washington is playing so far in this game? The onside kick, the missed extra point?
You know, I'm not sure, because on the one hand, I feel like they're playing hard on both sides, but you can't ignore, on the other hand, the onside kick. They gave up a 40-yard touchdown pass, something they haven't done all season. You know, they allowed a 4th down conversion and a silly sack. So I don't know.
Still a lot of football to play. Browning downfield for Pettis, incomplete at the 30-yard line. Intended for Pettis, working against Jalen Johnson. Quint?
You know, there's nothing out of character in the way they're behaving right now, having been here and watched this team the past 3 or 4 years. And even yesterday at the walkthrough, I couldn't tell if they're an 0-10 team or a 10-0 team. They were spirited, they were loose, there were smiles, but I saw focus. I thought their body language was excellent yesterday.
You know, Chris Peterson has a rule. You bring the energy and juice to practice, or you fake the energy and juice in practice. But you will have juice and energy
Washington.
at practice, one way or another.
Timeout of the half.
Great point. Fantastic philosophy. Hey, sometimes you got to fake it until you make it, folks. Back after this.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently. And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
A lot of traffic there on Interstate 5 tonight in Seattle. And welcome back, everyone, to ESPN College Football presented by Geico. In case you're just joining us, a couple of touchdowns from each team so far. Washington striking first on Myles Gaskin's 38th career touchdown run. Right there between the tackles, breaking a couple tackles along the way.
Yeah, tough inside running, and then you had Hundley come back and find Singleton for this huge 40-yard plus touchdown pass and catch, the first long play like that of the season the Huskies defense gave up.
Stanford defeating Cal a few moments ago, so Washington out of the Pac-12 North race. This is Pettis on the reception down to the 40-yard line, working against Julian Blackman, picks up 12 on the play.
That is only like play number 15 for the Huskies.
Dante Pettis had 5 receptions for 41 yards last week in that game against Stanford. You mentioned his dad, third base coach for the World Series champion Houston Astros. Dante got to see a couple of games during that series. Coleman in the backfield. This is Pettis on the reverse. Using that speed, Pettis down to the 10-yard line. And finally run out of bounds by Ballard.
Jonesy, when you see Pettis line up somewhere he normally doesn't, tight like that, there should be lots of yelling and screaming, reverse, reverse, to be ready for that, right? He gets around to the edge. He did a good job of opening the edge for him, and man, he's a beautiful athlete to run. He's so smooth.
Used to run track here at Washington, competed in the Pac-12 Outdoor Championships.
Smooth like his father, used to leap above the outfield wall and bring back home runs.
Break a lot of hearts, man.
Yep.
First and goal after that 32-yard reception. Coleman in the backfield. Coleman on the run into the boundary and knocked out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Good tackle on the play by Donovan Thompson, a 2-yard gain. It'll be second down and goal. Myles Gaskins on the sideline.
When Coleman is in, they are more likely to run inside. He has such a physical presence, 230 pounds.
From the same high school as former Husky Napoleon Kaufman. Browning gets it away to Coleman, but all the way back at the 15. Coleman diving, touchdown Huskies!
We talked about the physical presence of Coleman. Watch him finish this run. He just bowls over one guy to get into the end zone. He needed 2 more yards to get in. He said, you know, in my way, I got 230 pounds. I can deliver a blow with it.
Rod, he caught that ball all the way back at the 16-yard line.
Touchdown. The previous play.
They're going to review this. See if his knee was down short of the end zone.
Well, the guy trying to tackle him was down.
It'll count and go in the books as a 6-yard reception for the touchdown. It was a lot more than that. Here's a look at the final piece of it.
Well, that elbow is down. You know, it's not the knee, it's the elbow. It's the elbow just before the goal line. And from that angle, it doesn't look like the ball has crossed the plane. But it's the elbow, not the knee. Now, if you kind of flip it around, look from the other way where you can see the football. Elbow, oh, that's so close.
It's got to be conclusive to overturn the call on the field.
But when you stop it
after
by
review,
frame,
the ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
It was so hard to close that to a frame and stop that.
Yep. Well, Coleman did a lot of the heavy lifting, but Jake Browning is going to get credit for his 76th career touchdown pass. That sets a new school record. And it's his 17th of the season. So both Browning and Gaskin have rewritten the school record book tonight.
Well, he's had a good year, but he didn't have a great year compared to last year's numbers. But last year's numbers were so over the top that you kind of get lost with something like this. You know, look at him extend this play and create something special for his school-setting touchdown pass. Number 76, Huskies. They're into it.
Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. They are bundled up here tonight at Husky Stadium. Temperatures around 45 degrees. Otherwise, a beautiful day here in the Emerald City. Jake Browning leading his team down the field for the touchdown to go back up.
I think he's been pretty calm and cool in facing his coach, mentor. Hasn't been an issue for him tonight.
And Utah get it 1st and 10 from their own 25. Let's go back to the studio with Adnet. All right, thanks a lot, Adnan. USC at 9-2 right now, improving to 10-2 if they hang on and win. And another rough year for UCLA and head coach Jim Mora. They're going to fall to 5-6.
Do you think there are a few scouts at that game watching Darnold and Rosen trying to decide which one should be the top pick in the NFL draft?
Yeah, great matchup between those two quarterbacks. Tyler Huntley, meanwhile, is connected on his last 7 in a row now with that reception to Thompson. Q?
Utah operating without their starting right tackle, Darren Paolo, right now. He's taking the locker room. It appeared that he got a cut on his hand, so they bring in Johnny Capra, 73, at left guard, and they rotate this O-line.
There's Zach Moss on the run, picks up about 4 on the play. Q, yeah, they had 4 new offensive linemen at the start of the year.
You know, they've had issues in pass pro this year. They've given up 27 sacks. They lost 3 draft choices and 1 free agent to the NFL last year. So you combine that with injuries, and it's been a kind of a revolving door.
Hey, Q, keep your eyes on this. It looks like they're using the run-pass option on 1st down to kind of help that offensive line a little bit.
Huntley. They set up a screen, and nowhere to go on the middle screen to Troy McCormick, who made the catch on the play, hit immediately by number 95, Onzurike. A 4-yard loss on the play.
Yeah, Onzurike is getting some time in there to give a little bit of a rest to Jalen Johnson. He also sometimes gives Vita Vea a break, but he's part of their regular rotation, and he's making plays tonight when he's in there. Big 3rd down.
3rd and 11. Got to get to the 47 for the 1st down. Huntley with a lot of time. And he throws it into traffic. He's picked off. A poor decision by the sophomore. Intercepted by Taylor Rapp. Those are the type of plays that Kyle Whittingham said that his sophomore quarterback has to stay away from.
You're absolutely right, and you see they're talking about it now. It's okay to punt the football. That's one where he's trying to make a play because he's always made plays. And he's finding out that at this level, with this situation, when you can't get to the edge because you get run down by Birkin, well, you can't throw it up for grabs.
Yeah. That floated on him. It was intended for Raylan Singleton. He had 3 interceptions last week. The team had 7 turnovers in all.
Yeah. He had the 3 picks last week. Had some fumbles that went along with it for a total of 7 turnovers for Utah against Washington State.
Got a flag down on the play.
Illegal substitution, offense, 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
You know, it's these little things that leave me uncertain about the attention to detail and focus for some of the Washington players. They're playing with great energy. There's no question about that. But when you see the onside kick, you see the substitution penalty, you see the big play given up, it's not quite who they've been.
Screen pass complete to Gaskin. Got a nice block. Gaskin got the 1st down into Utah territory at the 47. An 18-yard gain for Myles Gaskin.
Well, whether you hand it to him or throw it to him, he is the focal point of this offense this season. And a little bit of space, you get to see all over again. It's the change of direction that makes him special.
2 years ago, he was a freshman All-American. Last year, 1,373 yards. And this year on pace to eclipse 1,000 yards, actually 1,300 yards again. A couple more good games.
You know, Napoleon Kaufman had, multiple 1,000-yard seasons. Not the same kind of player. A little bit more of a slasher.
Here's Gaskin again. Gaskin going to pick up about 4. Let's stick with that a little bit with the running backs. Okay, we had a nice little debate before the game here tonight, partner. I am a Corey Dillon guy. I know it was only one season at UW, but he ran for 1,695 yards before having a great pro career.
Nah, for me, it's Napoleon Kaufman.
Okay.
I mean, for me, he's the gold standard of running backs in Washington, what he did over his career. A hard-nosed slasher with great speed, and he just would take over a game. Yeah. I hear you about Corey, but that's one season.
I love me some one-and-dones. 2nd and 6, Gaskin again. Brought down for a gain of about 2. Q?
Well, from field level, what stands out about Myles, that low center of gravity, great feet. I mean, the cuts, we haven't seen a spin move yet, but he's got it. And he's become a complete back this year. We see him in the receiving game and in pass pro. And I think the fact that he's fresh and healthy now late in the season is a big plus. Coleman's taking about 1/3 of the carries, and he gets 2/3. But you've got both guys who still have strong and fresh legs.
Great point, Q. 3rd down and 5 coming up. Browning with tons of time, and now under duress. Sacked back at the 47-yard line by Anai.
He's got to throw that away.
Took a big loss.
Well, on time, he had a guy in the middle of the field he wanted to go to, but he saw a linebacker flash in front of him right there when he hitched. But now you got to throw this away. You can't believe you're going to escape 3 guys. You got to throw that ball away.
Joel Whitford into punt on the loss of 9 and 4th down coming up. Booby Hobbs, heels planted on the 10-yard line for the Utes. End over end kick. Hobbs fakes out the defense and watches the ball carry him into the back of the end zone. 52-yard punt, nothing on the return. Well, kick off your Week 11 with Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Randy Moss will tell you who got mossed. And then our Week 11 Monday Night Football matchup features Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, and the Falcons going up against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks at the Link. Monday Night Countdown kicking off our coverage at 6 Eastern Time on ESPN. Boy, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman out on that defensive unit for the Seahawks.
And a shout out to my guy, Richard Sherman. I know he'll get himself healthy and get back for next season.
What a great view.
Yeah, love that stadium.
Darren Pillow on the offensive line that Q was talking about a moment ago. Back in the ball game, Q. Incomplete on the pass by Huntley.
Yeah, you'll notice he's wearing a glove on his left hand right now, heavily taped. I saw, a bunch of blood when he was being taken to the locker room by their training staff, but he's back on the field now at right tackle, potentially solidifying that side.
2nd down and 10. Right, it's too early for one of those cut me Mick moments. Not quite the 15th round. Huntley incomplete, in and out of the hands of Brian Thompson. Should have been caught.
Yeah, but we're seeing a theme here with Utah. On 1st and 2nd down, back to the run-pass option. The zone read, fake, and then throw the slant to try and get something on the early down so they're not in 3rd and long. And it's the 2nd series in a row they've done that. But now they didn't get anything. They're in 3rd and long.
Well, let's see how Huntley responds after throwing the interception on the last sequence.
Well, he's got to take care of the football, and if forced out, he needs to go ahead and scramble as opposed to throwing it up.
Important to note, number 9, Darren Carrington in the ball game for the Utes. He's their home run hitter. Pressure blitz, sack at the 8. Big play by Brandon Wellington.
Well, they ran a stunt.
And they got to Huntley.
Well, take a look. They're going to run a stunt like that just cross their linebackers, it's going to confuse the linemen. And there you see Wellington coming free with a straight shot at Huntley.
9-yard loss, 4th down. Dante Pettis going to be standing right around midfield at his own 48-yard line. The punt from Mitch Wisnowski. Pettis has more punt return touchdowns than anyone. There's a flag down. Might have roughed the punter. Keith Taylor came in, and Wisnowski looking for the penalty with his palms facing skyward on the 39-yard punt.
I'm surprised that wasn't blocked. I mean, it looked like he was there in time to block it.
Didn't appear like Taylor got a piece of it. If he got a piece of it, then the contact is negligible and not a factor. But here's the call.
Running into the kicker, receiving team, that penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
Just watch how close he gets to this. He's there in time. He goes to the wrong point. You have to go where the ball is going to be, not where the leg was.
Had a great opportunity, almost. Time out of the field, 1st and 10 Huskies when we come back. Great battle Los Angeles going on. Browning, meanwhile, with the bootleg complete to the tight end, Will Dissly. And Dissly with the 1st down. They move the chains. He's a big part of their offense.
Well, he has to be. They don't really have a second go-to receiver. Pettis gets a lot of attention, and you've not seen any big throws down the field for Washington. That's not been a big part of their offense this season.
18-yard gain by Dissly. Gaskin receives the fake. Pass complete to Bocelli. 3-yard gain.
Utah plays a lot of man coverage. They want to take away the quick short pass. They'd like to force Browning to throw it deep.
Washington going fast here. Browning, Pettis at the 25, but wrapped up. Falls forward to the 21. Jalen Johnson in on the coverage there. Pettis picks up 8 on the play. Pettis had 5 catches for 41 yards last week against Stanford. One of the better leaders on this Washington football team. Gaskin got to the 20-yard line, stopped up by Mokafisi. A little bit of trash talk going on down there in the pile.
Got to have a little of that.
Oh, it's November. Everyone's a little angry right now. A little nicked up, right?
You've been practicing and hidden since August, and weather's turning, and you know season's about to end. Yeah. Get it off your chest a little bit,
man.
At least
okay
to the opponent, not your teammate.
2nd down and 10 from the 20. Browning has all day and steps out of bounds wisely.
Well, good coverage.
3rd down.
Good coverage on the back end. I mean, Utah wants to make Browning hold the ball. You saw what happens when he gets rid of the ball quickly. You know, the RPO stuff, the quick game. You know, Q, they're good at doing that. But when they make him hold that ball a little bit longer, it's a different story, don't you think?
Yeah, you know, wide receiver separation at times has been sold separately for this team this year, and his reaction to pressure has some of these fans a little upset. He's tended to really hold the ball and put himself into some dangerous situations.
3rd and long. Complete to Coleman. And Coleman going to be brought down short of the 1st down. That time well decoded and diagnosed by that Utes defense.
Hey, Donovan Thompson did a terrific job over there, getting in front and turning that play back inside. The linebacker who is stepping in at times to play is coming off a really great week, and he turned that thing back inside and forced a field goal attempt.
Yeah. And a small smattering, a chorus of boos raining down from some of the fans from the stands. 34-yard field goal attempt coming up from Tristan Vizcaino. And he knocks this one through. It's good to give Washington a 6-point lead. Let's go to the studio and add now. Yeah, Baker Mayfield very emotional today against Kansas. Bryce Love had, 101 yards, 14 carries today, and Stanford getting the win against their rivals.
Give me a moment for the 8th win in a row.
Oh, it was 8. You were tracking that,
yeah,
were you?
well, a little bit.
Okay.
I got to track something since everybody keeps talking about 35th anniversary, 1982.
I was hoping you were going to bring a replica of the axe into our production meeting this morning.
I might have to get one tattooed.
Gloating well earned. Under 2 minutes to go here in the first half. It'll come out to the 25-yard line. First down and 10 for the Utes and quarterback Tyler Huntley. Well, folks, Friday, undefeated number 3 Miami taking on Pittsburgh at noon on ABC. Then at 3:30, UCF hosts South Florida. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app. Boy, what about Miami, number 3? Turning it on in the second half.
Hey, congrats to them because their mettle was tested today. That first half looked like Virginia was just dropping everything on them. And then all of a sudden, you know, the Canes got to go in the second half, and they're still undefeated.
Yeah, I'm going to cast a few votes for Mark Richt as Coach of the Year. That Hurricane program really rolling right now. Huntley takes it on the direct snap, and a predetermined run, picked up about 7 on the play. Speaking of the Hurricanes, you know, Zach Moss, number 2, the starting tailback, who's back into the ball game now, actually initially committed to the Miami Hurricanes, part of that 2016 swag class, as they were known as, down in South Florida.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
2nd and 3. Huntley complete. Boy, what a throw that was by the sophomore to Singleton. First down.
Again, it's the short side of the field. This works because they tend to play 3 deep coverage. You see them dropping off, and on that short side of the field, because it's 3 deep coverage, it becomes man-to-man. There's no one helping you underneath, really. So that's the area to work if you're Utah throwing the ball until Washington changes that coverage.
Boy, he threw a rope too, Rod. Darren Carrington in the ballgame after the 19-yard gain. They run it to the short side of the field, and Moss turns it upfield. Moss actually had 141 yards against USC, against some pretty good competition.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, you keep mentioning the South Beach Miami connection with these guys. If Utah gets a pipeline, a regular pipeline into Miami, look out.
Dennis Erickson established that, and there is no more rich an area to recruit from than down there in Miami and Dayton-Broward County. Huntley picked up the first down, hit by Taylor Rapp, and they are well within field goal range right now of Matt Gay. And the Utes going to call a timeout. They'll have 2 remaining with 37 seconds to go.
That man
in the first half.
That man's run a good drive. This 2-minute drill, he's done a nice job with it. You saw a couple of nice throws, and then the quarterback draw. Good decision making, which is good to see after he threw that ill-advised pick on that 3rd down play. He's come right back and told you he can move on to the next play.
Yeah, great resilience by Huntley. Meanwhile, USC defeating UCLA 28-23. That's gone final. USC already had been determined as the South Division champion in the championship game.
Yeah, they're sitting there waiting on Washington State or Stanford. We know that because Stanford beat Cal. That eliminates Washington. So next week in the Apple Cup, we're going to find out if Washington State's going to face USC or if Stanford's going to wind up in the championship game and face USC.
A great year for the Cougars. They had put a lot of numbers up on the board, especially offensively.
Yeah, they have, but this is going to be different. A new king of the North after Washington won it last year.
2nd and 1. That's going to be Moss again for the first down. Zach Moss picks up 5 on the play. First down Utes with 32 seconds to go.
Again, if you are going to take a shot, the area to work, in my opinion, is the short side of the field. If they continue to play the same coverage down here. And see that's that deep coverage has turned into man-to-man.
They got those tall receivers. Huntley gets rid of it to McCormick, the back. And McCormick out of bounds at the 21-yard line, picked up 3. 13 seconds to go. Maybe time for one more play before a potential field goal.
Second charge timeout.
They're going to call a timeout again.
Timeout.
Well, here's the thing, Jonesy. You've got 2 timeouts, 1 timeout now after using this one. You know your field goal kicker is gold. You got one of the best in the country, so you feel really good about that. But your quarterback has thrown a pick, one that he should not have on 3rd down. So do you trust him here in this situation to make a throw into the end zone and possibly lose your 3 points that you got in your back pocket?
Yeah, that's part of the dilemma that Whittingham and Troy Taylor, the offensive coordinator, have faced this year with their first-year starter, Tyler Huntley. Whittingham has said over and over, I don't want to take away his playmaking ability and his spontaneity, but he's got to take better care of the football.
Well, you had the timeout. You reminded him, hey, we got 3 points. Throw this ball where only our guy can get it or out of bounds, and we'll take the 3 points, but do not force anything. And above all, don't throw in the middle of the field right now.
Carrington is in the ball game. Singleton split to the bottom of your screen. He caught the touchdown earlier. Under heat. Huntley brought down, never had a chance. Sacked at the 26-yard line by Greg Gaines with 2 seconds to go.
Timeout.
Actually, a really smart play by Huntley. He started to take off, and then he remembered the time and the field goal, and he said, you know what? Better for me not to try to get out of this. Let me just get down.
So in comes the field goal unit led by Matt Gay. He's already made 1 today from 28 yards out. 23 of 27 on the season. With 2 seconds to go here in the first half. The University of Utah trying to win their 6th game of the season, trying to become bowl eligible. They got 2 weeks to get the task accomplished. And Coach Whittingham has said that their goal is to get the seniors to a bowl game.
You could argue that they should already be there. They had a shot at USC, a 2-point conversion. They had a shot in the Stanford game. They could have been there. But they're fighting right here.
This one from 44 yards out. And now Washington is going to try and put Matt Gay on ice a little bit.
It's a Washington timeout, their second full timeout of the first half.
Utah coming off that loss last week. Utes have actually played in 11 bowl games under Whittingham. They're 10-1 in such bowl games. Quint?
Mark, this kid's one of the best kickers in the country. As you said, he's more than 85%. He's got 5 kicks made this year plus 50 yards. Former soccer player, Utah Valley University, transferred after going on a mission in 2015.
Right now, he's going to try it from 44. That's Cash. Knocks it through to reduce that lead to just 3 points for the Huskies, and that ends the first half of play. Whittingham and the Utes looking for their 6th win of the season. And that was a school record 24th field goal made by him. Let's go to the studio for the halftime report. Everyone to ESPN College Football presented by Geico. From the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington in the great Northwest. 16-13 as we get ready to start the second half. Washington and Utah looking to get back on the winning track. Mark Jones chopping it up with Rod Gilmore. Quinn Kesnick down on the field joining us in just a bit. Rod, what do you expect to see here in the second half?
Well, look, I know that Washington really wants to run the football, but the thing that's really sort of clicking is the passing attack. They need more of that. You've got a really good job by Browning. He's 10 of 11. Pettis has converted a first down every time he's touched the ball, so more of that. And if you're Utah, you've got to find a way to run the football. They are not getting enough yards, only 57. If they don't run the ball, there's more pressure on the quarterback, Huntley.
All right, that was our Planning for Success brought to you by Northwestern Mutual, as Utah will get the ball first here in the third quarter. Talk about the lack of running game by the Utes. That is in direct contrast to the historical approach by Kyle Whittingham offensively with the ground and pound.
Well, it's been a little bit tough. That's a pretty gnarly defense that they're trying to run the ball against.
And this one will go out of bounds. They'll get it 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Quint?
We will not win this game if we don't create a takeaway. The words of Kyle Whittingham, really asking his defense to generate that extra possession. Didn't love their field position, but I think you look at the way he called that first half, an aggressive mindset. Keep in mind the Utes need one more win to be bowl eligible, and he took a chance with that onside kick. It paid off. Look for a continued aggressive mindset from Coach Whittingham.
Well, Q, he already got the extra possession with the onside kick, and he went for it on a 4th down. So he's already created one from the sideline. He's just got to have a player get a pick or a fumble, and maybe that'll make him feel like he's got the other extra when he wants.
And meanwhile, Tyler Huntley was 10 of 14 passing for 111 yards and a touchdown pass in the first half. Had some good rhythm towards the end of that first half on the predetermined run brought down by Tevis Bartlett. Little or no gain on the play that time. First-year starter Tyler Huntley, a sophomore out of Dania, Florida.
See, the problem is when you have Vea and Gaines inside, 675 pounds of beef there, the linebackers are free to roam. These linemen for Utah can't hunt down these linebackers.
Zach Moss in the backfield. Huntley incomplete, intended for Darren Carrington, who, if you're just joining us, is suffering from injury and not quite 100% and didn't get a lot of snaps in that first half.
Yeah, he looked stiff on that play. It didn't look like he could reach down, but you got to find out sooner when he's warm. You can't let him stand on the sideline and then try and put him in the game. That's why they're going for him right now.
He has one reception for 15 yards in the ballgame. 3rd and 10. Huntley finds Moss, and Moss loose down the sideline, cuts it up. First down. Some great improvisation by Tyler Huntley. Finds his former high school teammate for the game.
That's got to be years of hanging out with the same guy, growing up, playing together in high school. He just knew he was there, and he throws him a dart and allows him to make a play. What a big 3rd down catch and run.
A couple of guys right off of I-95 and Sheridan Street in South Florida. 1st and 10, blitz coming. Huntley got rid of it. What an adjustment and catch! Simpkins! That is the 3rd wheel in that troika from South Florida. Damari Simpkins makes the catch.
On the 2 biggest plays he's made tonight, where he had to create, he went to his guys from high school. Simpkins goes up. He gave him a chance. He knew if he gave him a chance, he'd make a play. But how about those 2 back-to-back plays with his boys?
Instinct and chemistry. 25 and 31-yard pickups. Huntley on the RPO, the reception to Singleton down to the 3-yard line, and they're moving this down the field, Rob.
Change the tempo, change the momentum in the game. You get a couple big plays, they go right after it. Kyle Whittingham over there kind of pulling out all the stops, getting some help with Troy Taylor, his O-coordinator.
There's a look at Huntley on this drive. 3 of 4 passing. Those 2 big ones to Simpkins and Moss. A bunch formation at the bottom of the screen there. But they're going to run it. And this is Zach Moss, stopped up short of the end zone.
So, Jonesy, one of the real advantages you have down here at Utah is that you have a quarterback run designed offense. And when you run your quarterback down here, you get an extra blocker. Your quarterback's involved, so the guy you would normally hand off to is blocking. You can have numbers, and they should try that down here.
Simpkins in motion, a little premature motion down there. It's going to go against Utah.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
This stadium is known as one of the loudest venues in college football, especially this end zone. They're using a tap cadence where the guard will actually tap the center, but the right side of the line moved early. The noise just reverberates down here, Jonesy. It bounces off the roof and then back down. You can hardly hear yourself think.
Rod, it's always been loud here.
Yeah, back when I played, it was loud before they had this reconfigured stadium. It sounds like 100,000 plus here.
Trying not to stall in the red zone. They've kicked an inordinate amount of field goals, trying to get in the end zone here. Huntley stopped up short. 4th down coming up. Jalen Johnson making the tackle for the Huskies back of the 6-yard line, and once again Matt Gay comes in to try and attempt a field goal for the Utes.
Well, they did go to the quarterback design run, but there was a little bit of frustration with Hundley because Uatafe, the number 74, the left guard, just kind of stood in the hole. And so there was nowhere for Hundley to go. He tried to push him, but it was a little too late at that point.
This field goal attempt by Gay from 25 yards out. He's 2 of 2 already tonight and remains perfect, knotting the game at 16 apiece. But a pretty good start for the Utes here in the third quarter. Back to Seattle right after this. Watching the Pac-12 on ESPN from Seattle, Washington, Husky Stadium, Alaska Airlines Field on a beautiful night here in the Pacific Northwest under the lights. So look at the standings. The Pac-12, Stanford defeats Cal tonight. Big Apple Cup game coming up next Saturday between Washington State and Washington. Washington State controls its own destiny. They win and they get the North.
Right, and if Washington beats Washington State, then Stanford gets into the Pac-12 championship game. USC is just waiting to find out who their opponent will be.
And USC will have a bye. A little week to rest up after a pretty grueling battle tonight, surprisingly, I think, against UCLA. Browning getting ready to take the field, first down and 10. Let's take a look at the Northwestern Mutual rankings.
Everybody held serve up top, not likely to see any change. You will see continued discussion about Wisconsin. They had their best win of the season today. Got their first win over a ranked Michigan team.
Yep.
So there will be some discussion about whether Wisconsin's schedule is slightly better now and will help them in their argument to be in that top 4. But I would expect that on Tuesday, the top 4 would not change.
That was the college football playoff rankings brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Gaskin, boy, for a guy that's as diminutive as he is, very dynamic. He's broken a few tackles tonight to pick up 7 on that one.
Well, he hits and spins. You know, he's a tough guy. Just because he's short doesn't mean he's small or doesn't, you know, bring some toughness. He brings all that.
Yeah, packs a punch out of Linwood, Washington. Second down and 3. Gaskin again over the left side of that offensive line, but this time good pursuit by Mokafisi.
So I take it you're not buying Wisconsin. I mentioned them in there.
Yeah.
You just let that go completely by.
The schedule really unimpressive, and you know, it depends what they do in the Big Ten championship game. But still, that you know, I'm thinking you take a 1 or 2 win conference champ from another league.
Well, the thing is, and you know, when you have a schedule that's that soft, you have no margin for error. I think if they win out, I think they'll get in.
Browning sets up the screen. Gaskin out to the 43. What do you make of the possibility, back to the college football playoff, of a 2-loss conference champ getting in the final?
Well, the committee has shown no appetite for that the first 3 years. I think if we have multiple 2-loss conference champs, say the Big 10 and the Big 12 and the Pac-12.
Well, USC in that mix as Pettis makes another reception, almost like the one earlier tonight, working against Terrell Burgess.
Well, we talked about one of the second half things. Get him more touches.
Picks up 23 there.
He's their most dynamic receiver. He needs to touch the ball more.
And Gaskin this time runs it to the 30-yard line. Brought down for a gain of 1 by Boobie Hobbs. You know, getting back to Dante Pettis, a very interesting guy. We had a chance to have a fantastic visit with him when we were here about 5 weeks ago. An avid, voracious reader. Lists his 5 favorite books. The Bible, The Great Gatsby.
Gotta love the Gatsby.
Yeah. And then another one called By the River Piedra. I Sat Down and Wept. I haven't gotten around to that one yet. Browning going through his progression for Pettis. And they weren't reading the same book on that one because Pettis couldn't get there. 3rd and 7.
He held that ball an awful long time as you have this crossing route, long way for Pettis to go, and he just missed him. With all that time in the pocket and Pettis coming open, he had him. He's just off. You don't often see Browning miss a throw like that.
And Pettis coming to the sidelines on 3rd down and 7. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl was his other favorite read.
I didn't get that one.
On the counter, the handoff to Coleman, busting it up the middle for the first down. A spirited run by Levon Coleman, the senior. Picks up 11.
You know, they've run so much to the outside that they come back with this little counter action. And look what happens. They pull the left guard, the left tackle, just get inside, and you catch Utah flying out to the edge, and the middle opens up.
Under 9 minutes to go here on a very impressive drive by the Huskies, their first possession of the second half. There's a look at the 7 plays, 56 yards, approaching 3 minutes here. Gaskin again, couldn't get outside, and lunging forward to gain maybe a yard. Julian Blackman there to wrap him up.
You know, this is a defense missing 3 starters. Kyle Fitz is not in. Chase Hansen, Casey Hughes. Yet it's hanging in there, and you saw that nice tackle by Blackman coming up in run support.
Utah at 5-5 coming in tonight, looking for one more win in the next 2 weeks to become bowl eligible. 9th play of the drive coming up for the Huskies. Look for the trick play. Pettis tucks it under himself and run out of bounds right near the line of scrimmage. Maybe gained a yard on the play.
Well, he wanted to throw back to his quarterback Browning, but Browning wasn't open. Didn't get too far out on the wheel right. Well, just watch Browning take off here. He just heads back out, and Pettis wanted to go right back to him and said, not a good idea.
Good decision, huh?
Yeah. But you get these trick plays from these Chris Peterson teams, Boise State and Washington, particularly once you cross that 50-yard line.
3rd down and 8. Gaskin, and he's going to be stopped up short of the first down by about 4 yards. Burgess, his second tackle on this drive. 4th down coming up for the Huskies, and Tristan Vizcaino comes in to try and attempt the field goal. So this is a little bit of a win for this Utes defense. Defense, as you mentioned, Rod, a little bit short-handed coming into the ball game. More than a little short-handed.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is a bend but don't break, and you got some backup guys in there doing a good job under some pressure.
Vizcaino made one earlier from 34. This one coming from 30. He missed an extra point on the first touchdown of the game. And he pushed this one to the left. He missed it from 30. A bumpy night for Tristan Vizcaino. And they come up empty as a result on the drive. And how do you think Jake Browning, the quarterback, felt about this?
ESPN College Football, brought to you by CarMax. Drive what's possible. And Dell, don't just play, game.
Boy, you talk about some of the great players in college football. Right there, my favorite, Warren Moon. Watched him fresh out of college play for the Edmonton Eskimos in the Canadian Football League when NFL teams erroneously thought he wasn't good enough to play quarterback. Wow, did they ever miss? Had to play his first few years in the Canadian League. This is Moss. Stopped for a loss on the play.
Well, he proved them wrong in the NFL.
Did he ever?
And I'm glad you said some of the greatest players in college football, because you look at that and you see, oh, great Washington players. But those are some of the best players, period, in college football during their time here at Washington.
Lincoln Kennedy, one of the largest human beings I've ever seen, by the way.
How about the career Steve Entman had?
2nd down and 11. Utah looking a little disconcerted here with 7 on the play clock. Huntley kept it and picked up about 3. There's a lot of pre-snap movement and formations, Rod, and Jalen Johnson made the stop.
Jonesy, I just don't know why they keep running inside of those guys. Q, I mean, if you or me, and we talked about this, it's the edge. It's not inside with Greg Gaines and with Vea.
Yeah, I think you got to attack the edge, and I think you got to throw the ball to your tall receivers. You know, we haven't seen a single fade or jump ball, and they have all sorts of matchup advantages on the outside.
3rd and long. Huntley turned it loose. Great adjustment for the reception and the first down by Siosi Wilson.
He's 6'2", 190, and this is just a 50-50 ball. This is Huntley saying, I'm going to give my receiver a chance. Nothing fancy about it. It's a 3-deep coverage, but because the route is so long, it turns into man-to-man. And he takes the chance, and I think you can make the play over there against Joyner.
A big 3rd down conversion by Huntley. Looks to run it here, and wisely got down at about the 41-yard line, picked up a yard on the play. Ben Burkervin with the tackle for the Huskies. Tyler Huntley and Damari Simpkins, his high school teammate from Hallandale High School, came up to Utah and did an unofficial visit and ended up almost committing right away, pretty much. Very impressed.
Look how deep the safety plays for Washington. Tells you you're going to get a single high safety, some type of 3D coverage or man coverage.
Huntley given time. Boy, a lot of motion and running around, brought down finally by Bierria after a 3-yard gain.
That's a good play by Bierria in space, making a good tackle against Huntley. Keep in mind, Jonesy, that Bierria gets a lot more playing time tonight because Azim Victor is out for them. He's been suspended for Washington.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, so not playing tonight.
Darren Carrington, the second, back in the ball game. Leads the Pac-12 in yardage receiving per game. Trying to become a factor here tonight. 3rd and 6. Huntley complete. Boy, great effort by Moss out of the backfield. Bierria finally brought him down. They're going to mark him about a yard short of the first down. Picked up 5. 4th down coming.
Decision time. Now, good tackle here. Big hit at the end. Look at this tackle. Slips the first guy, but watch this. Wrap up. Wrap up. Head up, eyes up, and he wraps up. 2 hands on it. That's a good form tackle.
Moss actually carried him a couple yards after the hit.
Not a surprise here, right? 4th down
for it.
Yeah.
4th and 1. They run inside. And it looked like the forward progress of Moss is going to give him enough for the first down. So, Rod, they keep hitting it between the tackles. This time, just enough success to move the chains.
Not a surprise that Whittingham went for it. He's been showing all night that he's going to roll the dice a bit, take some chances. Onside kick. He's gone for it on 4th down twice tonight.
Huntley handed it off to his former high school teammate, Zach Moss.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
5 and 5. Trying to get to a bowl
Sure.
game.
Over the middle, wide open. Caught. And a first down. Fakialoa Tonga. A 20-yard gain.
Watch how quickly Huntley gets rid of that ball. He sees this is a run pass option. Fakes the run. The linebackers comes up. He just drops it right over their heads. Right to his tight end. Fakala Itonga.
First down and 10. Oh, what a move by Huntley. Couldn't get away. Got back to the line of scrimmage where Connor O'Brien was there to help on the stop.
If I'm Troy Taylor, the offensive coordinator, I'm tired of the field goals. They kick way too many field goals. And they ought to be looking at what's the play that works down here that we know will get us in the end zone.
There's a look at the number of field goals. Their red zone percentage, 52nd, 52%, 108th in the country. On the fade into the end zone, caught. Touchdown, Utes! Singleton again. A little mid-air magic for the score.
That's the play that Quint called for several plays ago, that matchup, the tall receivers against the shorter corners, and again to the boundary side where you know you're going to get man-to-man coverage, that's where they went.
He was working against Raylan Murphy, back for the first time in several weeks. Only 5'11" against 6'3", and you see the mismatch. That's a second touchdown catch tonight by Singleton. And the Utes lead it by 7 points on the Pac-12 After Dark. A surprise brewing here in Seattle at Husky Stadium. The Utes got a lot of dog in them tonight. Not giving up. It's our Week 11 Monday Night Football matchup featuring Matt Ryan and the Falcons going up against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks at CenturyLink. Monday Night Countdown kicks off our coverage at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Utah with its biggest lead of the ball game, biggest lead by any team, and that guy right there, the true sophomore Tyler Huntley, slowly becoming and developing into the prevailing storyline of the game. 17 of 22 passing, and he's given his team the lead. Ahmed on the return. Out across the 23. Let's take a look at the college football playoff. 4, 5, and 6 teams and their respective strength of schedule really jumps off the page at you with Wisconsin, Rod.
Well, look, I give the committee, or I gave them a lot of grief the last couple of years. I think the committee's doing a good job of balancing objective factors and subjective factors. I like Oklahoma in that top 4. I think Wisconsin and Auburn should be on the outside. So I have no problem with this right now. That schedule, that's a problem. That's going to be an issue for them. And then 2-2, 2 losses. We've not seen that yet. We might get there, but we haven't had that in 3 years.
And that Iron Bowl game, of course, coming up between Auburn and Alabama. 1.5 to go here in the third quarter. Gaskin with nowhere to go. Made lemonade out of lemons there at the end of the run. Donovan Thompson making the tackle. Second down coming up.
Uncle Momentum. Uncle Mo. Utah has Uncle Mo right now. They got a field goal, they got a stop, and they got a touchdown. So when you get stops and scores, you get momentum. You don't get Larry. You don't get Curly. You get Uncle Mo.
That's the one you want.
That's the one.
That's the only one you need.
He's the only one that can help you.
Under a minute to go. Utah, things in their favor right now. Browning, almost interception, but instead Gaskin on the loose. Miles Gaskin, so long. "76 yards.
Well, that'll make Uncle Mo sit down. But this should have been a pick going the other way. Mistimes the jump. Gaskin's great concentration. Completely focused on the ball. A lot of guys would miss that when you have someone flash in front of you. But Gaskin takes complete focus there and comes away with it. And all of a sudden, we should be tied up, right?
Boy,
They'll make this one.
They got that back in a hurry, Rod. A career-long reception by Miles Gaskin, his third touchdown catch of the season.
Yeah, when Browning threw this, it looked like going the other way, but Blackman mistimed the jump. He was coming down when he should have been going up. And again, the concentration by Gaskin was just outstanding.
And it was a foot race from that point on right there, yeah. Julian Blackman.
He jumped a little too soon.
Yeah.
One more step, and he picks that off, and he's going the other way.
Instead, it's a touchdown for Gaskin. And looking at Ballard in his rear view mirror. Tied at 23 with 42 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
Back and forth.
Gaskin already set a rushing touchdown record tonight. And there's a look at Julian Blackman thinking about what it could have been on that last play.
Oh, he knows it.
Yeah. This defense, though, has acquitted itself well. Missing a lot of key players tonight.
Well, you got to learn. You got to let it go. I mean, he can have his moment and slam the helmet and all, but you got to play the next play. You're going to be back out there soon. You got to let it go.
The kick comes down short at the 32-yard line. Fielded cleanly by the Utes and Nick Henninger. The first down and 10, and the good news for the Utes offensively is that Tyler Huntley, 17 of 22 passing, 245 yards. Rod, a good bounce-back game so far, considering last week he really turned it over. 3 interceptions and had a fumble.
He's growing up before our eyes. You know, we talked about him being a dual threat who really had an arm, but the creative plays he's made tonight have been outstanding.
Hands it off to Moss. And Moss gains about 4 yards. Greg Gaines making the tackle. Zach Moss, one of the 3 players from South Florida on that Utes roster. After every game, he was saying that his brother calls him, gives him a very detailed hour-long evaluation, and then he hands off the phone to his dad.
Oh, he gets a double critique? Oh, gosh.
Well, you know, in Florida, football's serious business. 2nd and 5. Boy, Huntley really rode Moss that time on the mesh point. Beavers with the tackle on the play, and that's going to be the end of the first 45 minutes of play. Kyle Whittingham and Tyler Huntley, his quarterback, looking for their 6th win of the season and bowl eligibility when we come back.
Home of the New Year's Six and the college football playoff.
Rose and Sugar Bowl games, big ones on the way to the national championship game, college football playoff. And what a game we have here. Washington looking for its 10th win in 11 tries against Utah, but Utah, Rod, surprisingly efficient offensively, and Tyler Huntley's been maybe the story tonight.
Well, I think there are 2 things that we know. We know Huntley has grown up as a quarterback tonight. He's made plays with his arm, even though he's a dual threat guy. We saw this coming, and he's kind of arrived tonight. And Washington is playing hard. For those people who were concerned that, well, maybe after losing to Stanford they wouldn't be focused and into it, they're playing their hearts out.
3rd and 7, Huntley under pressure and took the sack back of the 26. Tevis Bartlett was the first one there. It's a 3rd sack tonight.
Well, you're going to see him just come up inside, and they will open up a little hole for him and watch him make a play. Little twist. He comes from the opposite side as they use Wellington to open up that hole for him. And you don't get a lot of pressure from Washington normally, but you can see they're ratcheting things up now.
Boy, it's tough on a first-year starter. Sophomore quarterback. Huntley. And it's a fake! Wishnowski is going to get the first down. Wow! The 2nd time tonight that Whittingham, and there's a flag down. It might be because of the spike by Wishnowski. 19-yard gain for the first down. Let's see what this flag is about.
Well, remember, Whittingham told Q they needed a takeaway to win this game. If that stands, that's a takeaway.
The result of the play is a first down for Utah. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 30 for spiking the ball. 15-yard penalty, first down and 10. This is number 33's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
Do you remember the time when Peyton Manning called his kicker an idiot?
Yeah, yeah.
You think there's some guys going, dude, come on, don't spike the football.
You know what, Rod? I'll say this. Watch how spontaneous his reaction is. That's a big play. Are you really telling me that that should be penalized like that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. You can't do that.
This is such an emotional game, Quinn.
Well, jump around, celebrate. You can't throw the ball. You're not in the NFL.
That was a mini spike. Not even a spike.
25-year-old Australian. I don't think he knows any better.
It's tough to legislate the emotion, spontaneous emotion out of the game like that.
Well, then where would you draw the line?
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I got no problem with him jumping up, and pounding his chest or running to a teammate, but spiking the ball, it's an automatic delay of game at the least.
Rod, you and I have both played collegiate athletics, and I've never not. That's a spontaneous. I made a play.
Oh, come on.
Is he embarrassing his
How long
opponent?
you gonna hang on the rim after you dunk it?
Just enough to let someone know I dunked it. Huntley, incomplete near midfield, intended for Raylan Singleton. And 3rd down and 6. It's a rule that is. I remember Jake Locker, quarterback here, against BYU. Scored on a big play, threw the ball up in the air spontaneously, was flagged. The Huskies ended up losing the game because of that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I don't think he was embarrassing anyone or acting out on that.
No, that was a bad call.
Well,
this one was a good call.
Husky fans will remember the play I'm talking about, and I'm on their side on that one. Huntley, complete. 1st down, Darren Carrington keeps the chains moving.
He looks like he's moving better now than he was in the first half. That was a crossing route by Carrington and a nice throw to lead him by Huntley, but he looks better than he did in the first half.
So back to the celebration, the Jake Locker thing. You can tell I haven't let that go, right?
You got to learn to let these things go, man. Really, seriously.
I'm sure some of these Huskies fans haven't forgotten either. Huntley going to tuck it under, and he's got some wheels. Got to the sideline near the 1st down marker, about a yard short. Beavers making the tackle on the 9-yard sprint. That time a wise decision by Huntley. 2nd down and short coming up for the Utes.
So this gives them lots of opportunities, lots of options here. You have an offense that is quarterback run designed. You can fake something here. And again, you get the short side of the field.
Huntley hands it off to Moss, and he picks up the 1st down. Gains 3 on the play. Vita Vea making the tackle. We haven't said Vita Vea's name all that much tonight, Rod. What do you make of that? A little conspicuous by his absence.
Oh, he's having an impact. I mean, they've stuffed things inside. He's been doubled a lot. He's occupying 2 blockers. Hasn't made a lot of tackles, but he's been effective inside. They've shut down the rushing attack in there. He is still, Todd McShay. Our Todd McShay has him as a 1st-round pick right now as number 29 in the draft.
Great size and mobility. 340 pounds, 6'5". 1st and 10. Huntley lunging forward to the 44. Ryan Bowman making the tackle on the play. No gain. Good heat by Vita Vea. We were just talking about him. He almost was able to sack Huntley.
Yeah, he's a guy that they try to rotate a little bit in the first half to keep him fresh in the second half so he can make plays like this. He just destroys Agasiva, who was trying to block him, and gets in there.
We get a player down on the field. It looks like Ryan Bowman now up and coming off. Back after this. Sports Center. Baker Mayfield explains his sideline outburst. Who's considered the better NFL prospect, Rosen or Darnold? And has Lamar Jackson been even better this season? Sports Center with Linda Cohn, Kevin Connors right here on ESPN. Also on the app after the game. We've been saying for a while that Lamar Jackson should be included in the conversation. Huntley downfield has a man caught at the 5-yard line. Jake Jackson, the tight end, snuck out and got deep. And what a pass by Tyler Huntley for 39 yards. 1st and goal.
Oh, Jonesy, what a terrific throw. Look at the air he puts underneath this for Jackson, his tight end, to run down there and get that.
Utah a little late getting on the field here. Bunch formation to the bottom of your screen. 1st and goal. So many times tonight they've settled for a field goal. Huntley says, not this time. I'm going to kick it myself and get the score.
Quarterback draw. Put the football in the hands of the guy that you trust the most to make a play, and that's Huntley. Hesitation step, and there he goes. Good block inside. That's Jordan Agasiva, who makes a good block on the right guard spot that opens up the inside for him.
Tyler Huntley was asked by local media in Salt Lake City earlier this week about the game tonight. He said, you know what? We're going to get to a bowl game. He didn't make a promise in terms of it being a win tonight against Washington. Maybe it'll be the game next week. But he's doing all he can here tonight. His 4th rushing touchdown of the season. Tyler Huntley impressing everybody tonight. Has his team out in front 30-23 and did it himself on that touchdown run a moment ago.
Yeah, but Jonesy on the touchdown run was set up by the beautiful pass. Look what it's basically a wheel route for Jackson coming out of the backfield against a 3-deep coverage, and the guy who should run deep with him from an underneath coverage actually doesn't. It's the nickelback Bryant who realizes it too late, and because of that, you open up the middle, the wheel route works, and it set up the touchdown run by Huntley.
Jake Jackson on that deep pass. Have to be impressed with the poise and the precision of Tyler Huntley. Boy, his numbers tonight, almost 300 yards passing on 19 of 25. There's the Huskies on the kickoff return. Down to the 30-yard line. So Dotson on the return. It'll be 1st and 10 from there for Browning.
He's been good tonight. Actually, Browning's been good all year. It's just that the people who are critics about his season don't recognize how phenomenal last year was. Q, you're aware of that. He had 43 touchdown passes last season.
Yeah, and right now, you know, if you're Troy Taylor, Utah's offensive coordinator, you're working on your play sheet for your next possession. Do you peek down there and watch your former pupil, a guy you taught as a 10-year-old how to throw the football and how to operate an offense? Do you peek and watch?
Yeah, he's peeking.
And how do you deal with your emotions?
He's peeking. He's watching him.
1st and 10 Huskies from the 30. Browning under heat and wisely throws it away and took a hit afterwards from Anai. Bradley Anai was right in there, bearing down on him.
Well, this is what Troy Taylor saw if he was watching his former pupil take a hit there at the end. And remember, Troy Taylor has coached, or did coach anyway, Browning from the time he was 10 years old through high school before handing him off to Chris Peterson. And he thought he was going to wind up at Boise State, but then Chris Peterson came over here and Browning followed Peterson to Washington.
There's a look at Troy Taylor upstairs, former coach at Folsom High School, where Browning was All-State. Browning scrambling, and a flag down on the play. Nothing open downfield. Good pressure by Bradley Anai again.
Before the pass, holding, defense number 10. 10-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Penalty against Tautioli. Well, this was the relationship from its infancy with Troy Taylor and Jake Browning is a 10-year-old at Folsom High School. Interesting to hear Taylor tell us that Browning is, quote-unquote, an old soul, mature beyond his years. They see each other as family. Both from knitting, it's a little strange and awkward to go against each other tonight. This is Aaron Fuller on the other end of that Browning pass.
Well, you know what I found refreshing was that Troy Taylor said, heck yeah, it's going to be awkward. I mean, this is family. This is a guy I've known forever. And how often do you get coaches who say that? It's like, no, the game's more important. It's not about us. He's like, no.
Yeah, he was honest.
This is a guy that I've coached since he was 10 years old. Yes, it's going to be awkward.
Well, Browning was out front saying, I hope he calls all the wrong plays. 2nd and 7. Sample in motion, now sets. Over to Sample on the catch, and he's stopped up about 3 yards short of the 1st down by Lua Fatasonga. Under 10 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Utah 5-5. Chris Peterson's Huskies at 8-2 earlier tonight eliminated from contention of winning the Pac-12 North Division by virtue of the win by Stanford against Cal. Big Apple Cup game coming up next Saturday, though, on the ESPN networks against Washington State. Washington State controlling its own destiny. 3rd and 2 here. Gaskin on the handoff. His forward momentum giving him the first down. Boy, he kept those legs driving hard.
That's a tough run. That's a tough, hard-nosed run by Gaskin. I mean, he only goes at about 190 pounds, but he is tough, low to the ground, good balance, and as you mentioned, the churning legs, the second effort got him the first down.
You're talking about all the backs that have been over 1,000 yards. So you're a Napoleon Kaufman guy.
I am a Napoleon Kaufman fan. I think he was the best who played here, but that's just me.
I'm going to throw Bean O'Brien in the mix a little bit, too.
Okay, I hear you. Now you're off Corey Dillon.
That's in addition to Browning. Little screen pass to Coleman. And Coleman is going to pick up 5 yards. Ironically, Coleman is from the same high school as the aforementioned Napoleon Kaufman. Second down coming up. Coleman had that strong touchdown run a little bit earlier tonight.
You know who was also a running back here and a linebacker?
Who's that?
Shaq Thompson.
Oh,
and you didn't mention him.
Yeah, my bad. Well, he played both sides of the football, so not exclusively in that running back class. Thompson in the NFL doing his thing now. 2nd and 5. Browning being run down and runs out of bounds just beyond the 40 at the 39 by Tautioli. A 7-yard gain, 1st and 10. Both teams with their full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. .8:02 to go. Blitz coming. Browning got a man and misfired. Had his receiver Bocelli open. 2nd down and 10. Rod, let's go back to Pac-10 Conference Championship.
Pac-12,
Pardon me, Pac-12. Well, we were talking about all those old guys. I got stuck in Pac-10. Who do you think is a better matchup for USC, Washington State or Stanford?
Well, they've played both of them, and they had their way with Stanford early in the season in 2nd week or 3rd week in September and lost at Washington State. Stanford will take the air out of the ball, shorten the game. I think that's a better matchup probably for USC than Washington State, which can score quickly.
That game Friday, December 2nd at 8 p.m. on ESPN. Out of the backfield, Gaskin. Man, this guy is slippery. He made 3 guys miss.
Yeah, he's been doing that all night.
And he's letting them know about it, too.
Getting back to that Pac-12 championship game, if you think in terms of the way Washington State played against USC and the kind of confidence they played with, and they were healthy on defense, my sense says that's a little tougher matchup for USC.
Interesting.
That quick strike capability is really something for Washington State.
A Pac-12 Conference Championship game Friday, December 1st. Gaskins picks up another first down. Q, you see things a little differently or not here?
Yeah, if you're the Trojans, don't you want to play Washington State on a neutral field? You went up to Pullman. You were just bombarded by injuries that night. The home crowd was overwhelming on a Friday night, I believe it was. Wouldn't you rather play that team than the Stanford team that you handled earlier in the year? Don't we like revenge?
We love revenge. I was just looking at matchups. But we love revenge.
1st and 10, Browning. Wide open at the 18-yard line. Nobody was close to Aaron Fuller. And Fuller is kind of filled in well as that number 2 receiver, with Dante Pettis getting most of the attention. Picked up 10 on that one.
Yeah, but they just aren't the same passing team that they were last year when you had John Ross. Now, you're talking about a 1st-round pick.
Yeah.
who really changed things for them. So now this year, it's all about Pettis in the passing attack.
Levon Coleman in the backfield. Sets to the left of Browning. Coleman on the carry. And brought down at about the 13 by Ballard. Clock running as we approach 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Huskies trying to tie this game. They trail by 7.
And you have to believe that Chris Peterson is thinking touchdown. He's thinking 4 downs down here. The confidence in his kicking game, I think, has kind of waned.
It's shattered by now.
Well, you're probably right. That's a better word.
Missed an extra point and an easy field goal. 12th play of this Husky drive. Disley in motion. Now sets. Browning looked to pass. Nobody home. Being pursued and incomplete at the 3-yard line. Intended for Aaron Fuller. 3rd and 6 coming up. This Utah defense has come up with some key stops tonight so far.
Well, Jonesy, just watch up here at the top of the screen. That's exactly where Browning wants to throw. He can't because of the great coverage, and that disrupts everything. The timing of the play, that simple press coverage that took away his first option, made him hold the ball, and just blew up the play.
Big 3rd and 6 coming up here. Fuller comes out of the ball game. Browning under heat, completed it. Gaskin stopped up short, and the Utes defense comes up with a big stop. Booby Hobbs with the good pressure, and it's 4th down coming up. They're going to keep the offense on the field with Browning.
Well, you rarely get pressure from Utah, but you get it inside the 15-20 red zone, and then they brought it that time, and Hobbs, clear path, had a clear path to Browning, and we said this would be the decision by Chris Peterson. Not a lot of confidence in the kicking game, and 4:50 to go.
A potential tipping point, defining play here in the ball game. On 4th and 8. And a timeout called on the field. Washington going to burn one of their 3 remaining timeouts. Browning going to talk things over with his head coach and Jonathan Smith, the offensive coordinator. Back after this.
And college football is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The irradiant skyline of Seattle. Back here at Husky Stadium. Pivotal 4th down coming up.
You want Pettis on the short side of the field? You want him up there? That's the matchup.
See if Browning goes his way. They need to keep this drive alive. Working against Jalen Johnson, Pettis is. Browning. Running. Stopped short. He got helicoptered and got stoned before the 1st down marker by Donovan Thompson. And the Utes get a huge stop and a win there on defense. And Browning comes up limping. He got shook. He got rocked.
Well, Jonesy, he gave everything to try to pick up that 1st down. He couldn't find anyone, and he is determined there. Now watch the effort here. He just takes the biggest hit. But he had a guy in the end zone. There's Fuller, number 12, but he couldn't see back across the field. And Pettis was also open, but again, he was running for the 1st down. Had 2 guys, didn't see either one of them.
And the defense elated at the result. The question that begs now, can Tyler Huntley, the 1st-year starter, the sophomore, close the deal here with 4.5 minutes to play? Takes out his do-it-yourself kit and picks up about 4. Huntley has been radiant tonight.
Well, he's been something. I mean, you talk about a guy bouncing back from last week against Washington State, in which the offense had 7 turnovers. He threw 3 picks. He threw a pick tonight, and from that point on, tonight he's been fantastic. I mean, he's thrown the ball just beautifully tonight.
Yeah. We're looking at the future of quarterbacking at Utah right now. Tyler Huntley out of Dania, Florida. Keeps it himself. Finds a seam. Looks like he got enough for the first down. Burkeven finally making the stop. Let's see where they spot the ball. And they give him the first down. Was real patient on that one.
Yeah, now you're a 4-minute offense if you're Utah. You start burning the clock. You force Chris Peterson to use his timeouts.
And this is where a dual threat quarterback, Rod, really comes in handy. I mean, Huntley's a potent weapon on the ground.
Well, you know, you can do your quarterback design runs and you don't have to, handle the ball as much. He has 105 yards rushing tonight already.
Trying to add to that Utah total. Vita Vea in on the tackle that time. And it looks like Washington's going to call a timeout with just under 3 minutes to go. Chris Peterson
timeout.
Trying to regroup
Washington,
here.
Your second charge timeout.
And come up with a couple big defensive plays when we come back. On Friday, undefeated number 3 Miami taking on Pittsburgh at noon Eastern time on ABC. Then at 3:30 Eastern time, UCF hosting South Florida. Both games also streaming live on the ESPN app. Luke Rozier and Braxton Berrios, Ahmad Richards.
Next weekend is going to be wild.
Ooh.
Just wild. It's all coming down.
Yep, the U is back. From Coral Gables all the way up to Carroll City. They know about it down in Miami. Browning warming up on the sidelines, hoping for another chance. Huntley incomplete. No flag on the play intended for Carrington. And it sets up a 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, no flag. That's a good play by Turner, jumping on top of that run pass option, looking for that slant, setting up what should be a critical 3rd down. If you're Washington, you really want to make sure that you keep people in front of you here. And I don't think Utah's going to take a chance here on 3rd and 12.
With a young quarterback, something to consider. They hand it off to Moss. And they finally wrap up Moss for about a 4-yard gain. Ryan Bowman there. So with under 3 minutes to go, keep in mind that last year in this game, Dante Pettis ran back a punt which proved to be the deciding margin in the victory for the Washington Huskies. There's a look at Pettis. But Mitch Wishnowsky has made some big plays tonight in the punt game for the Utes. We're looking at a 4th down and 7. This is going to be just the 3rd punt tonight for Mitch Wishnowsky.
And he's averaging 44 yards a kick. And the punt return last year, Pettis did it at about this time in the game. About 3.5 minutes to go, and won the game with his punt return.
What a great chess match it's been within the special teams game between Utah and Washington. And the Utah Utes are going to burn one of their timeouts. They've got 2 remaining. This was the scene last year with right around 3 minutes to go. It was tied, and then Pettis at Rice-Eccles Stadium took the punt back to the house. Jogging down the sidelines, and that decided the game. The final margin, 31-24 in the Huskies' favor. Their 9th win in the 10 appearances against the Utes.
He is the best punt returner in college football, and he's facing one of the best punters right now. He won this one last year.
Yep. Wishnowsky already faked the punt, ran for 1st down. I doubt he'll do it here. Rolls out. Gets off a high end-over-end punt. Fair catch called at the 37-yard line with 2:03 to go. We talked about special teams. The win there perhaps going to Utah. Utah has had the edge tonight in special teams.
Well, it's been an issue. You talk about a PAT. Washington missed early. Instead of a 7-0 lead, 6-0. Then they get surprised with an onside kick. And then a field goal, this was the one that made Chris Peterson say, you know what, forget the field goals the rest of the night. Caught them napping on a punt. Wisnowski picks up a first down and spiked the ball, took a penalty.
Bad call. Great wheels by the 24-year-old Australian. First down and 10. Browning took a big hit, remember, the last time he was on the field. See if he's got any cobwebs from that. They come with a little heat. Browning forced to scramble and wisely throws it out of bounds. Good heat from Donovan Thompson, number 3. This was the hit that he took on the last possession, going for the first down on 4th down.
Yeah, this is like straight out of Hollywood or John Elway helicopter. I mean, he got up limping. He looked a little dazed. He was on the sideline without his helmet. It looked like he was fine. I don't see anybody really checking him. He's back out there. He looks okay.
Great toughness by Jake Browning. Fires high and incomplete. Intended for Pettis, and quickly it's 3rd and 10 with 1:50 to go.
Utah's bringing the heat. Every play now, they have abandoned the whole notion of simply playing coverage. They are bringing the heat every play. It's like they look at Browning and they say, we know you're a little wounded. We know you're having some cobwebs or whatever. We're coming after you.
What kind of impact does it seem to be having?
Well, it's making him speed everything up, and it hasn't sped up in the right direction yet.
3rd and 10. More heat coming. Blitz. Browning running and sacked. Fumbles it. Looked like he threw it when he was already tackled. Guidry that time was the first one to get there. Rod, you called it. They are bringing the house on seemingly every play here.
Well, give credit to Morgan Scally, the defensive coordinator.
Number 22 was in the area. 4th down.
Scally has dialed up blitzes. You know, and the good coaches always save something in the 4th quarter that they haven't used to surprise the offense, the offensive coordinator, surprise that quarterback. And they've brought pressure here late in the 4th quarter that they haven't shown all night.
Good time to unveil it. Dante Pettis is split to the bottom of your screen on 4th and 10 to stay alive in this game. Utes with more heat. Browning delivers. Caught, and a first down to Bocelli. And the Huskies are alive with 1:33 to go.
And they have one timeout still. They didn't use it to discuss that 4th down play. They saved it.
Only a touchdown will do. 14-yard gain down to the 47. Browning delivers another strike. Bocelli again. A little bit short of the first down. 2nd and 1.
They have plenty of time. You got a $1:27 and a timeout. Washington doesn't have to be in a hurry. And the real challenge now goes back to Utah defensively. Scally has brought a lot of pressure. Does he go back to it? Is he afraid of it now because of the one-on-one situation?
4-receiver formation. Coleman in the backfield. They bring pressure from the wide side. Pettis one-on-one, and great open field tackle by Terrell Burgess to limit the gain of Pettis. A 2-yard pickup.
Remember, this is a Utah secondary missing a couple of key players on the back end, and they're hanging in here.
Browning, backside pressure, almost sacked, and completes the pass to Fuller. Jake Browning with a tremendous effort there.
How about that? How about that from Browning? Being chased down, creates, still on the move, makes a play to pick up some yardage and to get out of bounds.
2nd and 4 after the catch by Aaron Fuller. Washington with one timeout remaining. Heat coming from the Utes. Open, caught. Down to the 2, Disley. 1st and goal, Huskies. A 28-yard gain, and what a dart thrown by Jake Browning.
6'4", 270 pounds. Johnson is down on the field, but Disley is a huge tight end. Jonesy, he's a big target, and Browning dropped that right in over the outstretched hands of a linebacker. Watch him just drop this in there, right over the hands, and in there for his big target to get in there.
Almost seemed like a routine tackle by Jalen Johnson, but he's shaken up on the play, still down at the 2-yard line.
When that ball was first thrown, I thought Luafata Sanga, number 5, had a shot at it, but it was thrown just enough over his hands where he couldn't make a play.
Let's look at Jalen Johnson being tended to. Boy, Jake Browning has made a couple of key throws to keep this final drive alive for the Huskies. And look at Jalen Johnson shaken up after making this tackle on Disley. There's Johnson, number 7, coming in.
He's trying with everything he has to hold out a 270-pound tight end. And I would think that just having that guy fall on you, who's 100 pounds more than you, is enough to cause an issue.
On this drive, though, Browning, 8 passes. Missed his first 3, hit his last 5.
You know how hard that is? You got a guy who's a corner, who's a freshman, who's about $175, maybe $180, dripping wet, and he's tackling a 270-pound tight end, kind of cattle riding him, keeping him out of the end zone.
You're trying to tell me that hurts, right?
That is not easy.
1st and goal. Browning splits out to the top of the screen. Wildcat. Gaskin and Coleman in the backfield. Direct snap to Gaskin. Touchdown! Chris Peterson always has something in his back pocket.
Does he have a 2-point conversion in his back pocket? Given the state of his kicking game and what we've seen from special teams tonight, does he go ahead and say, hey, let's end it right now?
Well, Vizcaino has missed one earlier tonight. He missed a field goal tonight. This is not a gimme by any stretch. A point away from tying it up. Tristan Vizcaino knocks the game at 30. 58 seconds to go. The big play by Will Disley set up the tying score. Utah with 2 timeouts remaining and 58 seconds to work with. And now the focus goes across the field to Coach Whittingham and his sophomore quarterback Tyler Huntley, who has been clutch here in the second half.
Well, I think what you will find is that on the very first play, we'll get an indication as to whether they want to go after this, and I think they will. I think they'll let Huntley throw on first down. If they don't have any success, you might see Utah at that point say, we'll try and play for overtime.
And keep in mind, Rod, Matt Gay, their place kicker, has a career long of 56 yards, so he's got good leg strength. There he is on the sidelines, but the question begs, will he get an opportunity here?
Well, you've got 2 timeouts. The question is, really, how much confidence do you have in your young quarterback in a 2-minute drill that will be less than 1 minute?
And Utah will start off 1st and 10 from its own 25-yard line. Huntley tonight has bounced back from a subpar performance a couple of weeks ago against Washington State. There's his stats. Almost 300 yards passing on a very efficient 19 of 26.
Well, and he's been good to the outside. And, you know, we talk about this all the time. The toughest place for young quarterbacks to throw the football is in the middle of the field because it's dark and full of terror. So, you know, linebackers, safeties, you don't want to go there. So keep him to the outside.
From the 25, 1st and 10. Huntley got good wheels and got out of bounds at just around the 30-yard line. They'll spot it at the 33 with 49 seconds to go.
Yeah, that'll buy another opportunity. I think Kyle Whittingham will continue to go after this.
8-yard gain. Empty formation, 5 receivers on the play. in the middle, almost intercepted by Burkeven. You said the middle of the field was dangerous.
You know, and that guy, Burkeven, nobody plays harder. He gets around the football, whether you throw it or you pass it. I mean, you run it. He makes plays, and this is a dangerous area.
Wow.
Again, that's why you stay out of the middle of the field, particularly late in the game with a young quarterback.
That was intended for his former high school teammate, Damari Simpkins. 3rd and 2. He's going to keep it himself. Fumble! He put it on the ground. Loose ball. Who's got it? And what a big hit. And a dangerous.
Ruling on the field is a fumble and recovery by Utah.
A near fatal play for the Utes. 4th down coming up.
That ball is
everything.
out.
Boy, he got it back. Huntley reached out there while on the ground and got it back. Big hit by Miles Bryant, number 5. And we got a flag down on the field as well.
There's no foul for an unsportsmanlike conduct foul against the head coach of the home team. He called timeout. The game clock will be at 30 seconds. 3rd and final timeout, Washington.
And that's part of that new rule this season where coaches can be flagged for coming on the field, and they were going to flag him. He's like, look, I'm not here to call timeout. I'm not here to complain. You can't flag me for trying to get your attention to call a timeout.
Was it last week we had one of our coaches right in the official's ear and couldn't get his attention, remember?
I think that was Dan Mullen a couple of weeks ago.
Sometimes you just can't seem to get their attention.
Well, he was right next to the official, kind of yelling in his ear, I want a timeout, and the official ignored him.
And Peterson had to get the official's attention here. So 35 seconds to go.
Well, you'll get one more chance, Mr. Pettis.
Yep, Pettis against Wisnowski. What a good game within the game.
This is no time for Wisnowski to allow his ego to get involved. Directional kick it away from him, or else Mr. Pettis might make you pay.
He took one back last year to win the game for the Huskies. And a great end-over-end punt. Fair catch called at the 27-yard line with 29 seconds to go. A 39-yard punt, no return. Jake Browning perhaps trying to get into field goal range for Tristan Vizcaino.
Well, this is your 3rd year starting quarterback. He's a junior. You trust him. You're going to give him a chance to see if he can make a play. And if he can't, then you pull the plug on this and go to overtime. But remember, they're not very good with long field goals in Washington.
Right. They've got no timeouts remaining. There's Vizcaino, who's missed one tonight and missed an extra point as well. But who knows, maybe redemption lies in his future. 1st and 10 for Browning and the Huskies. Going to hand it off to Gaskin. And Rod, does that tell you they're playing for overtime?
Yep, no doubt.
Timeout, Utah. Their second charge.
Utah is going to stop the clock.
This will be a 30-second
And now have one timeout remaining.
Well, he's burning these timeouts because, 1, you can't take them with you. And 2, you want them to snap the ball and see if maybe you get lucky. Maybe they put it on the ground for you.
Well, both quarterbacks have done an outstanding job with their respective offenses tonight. Browning especially on that last drive.
Yeah,
impressive numbers.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Both of them around 300 yards. They've made creative plays. They've extended the play, a couple of touchdown passes apiece. And just one bad decision by Huntley tonight. That was that pick he threw in the first half.
You think about the opportunity that Utes defense had at one point for an interception that went for a touchdown on the Gaskin reception. On 2nd down, Browning going to throw it. Pettis Caught out of bounds near midfield. But no timeouts remaining. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer with 17 seconds to go. Working against Julian Blackman, picked up 18. Maybe one more play and a field goal attempt?
Well, without the timeout, you see the field goal line. They've got to get inside the 30 where they feel somewhat comfortable making an attempt.
From the 48, 1st and 10. Browning under heat. Finds a man, caught, complete, in field goal range to Bocelli with 8 seconds to go. They picked up 31.
Well, and a good job by Browning not crossing the line of scrimmage. He scrambled so much. Look at that black line. He gets so close to it, but doesn't get his body over it, that's a legitimate throw.
And that's easy for us to see that black line. He doesn't see that.
No idea, but he did a good job with that.
1st and 10. One more play, perhaps, before the field goal attempt. Taking a shot in the end zone. Little contact and no flag. The official perhaps indicating it wasn't catchable. Blackman working against Pettis. And now it's up to Tristan Vizcaino.
There is no question that Blackman had his hands all over him and was slowing him down, impeding him from getting free.
Vizcaino going to attempt this field goal.
But you know, I got no problem with him letting him play and not deciding the game by a penalty.
Vizcaino will try to decide it from 38 yards out. 1 of 2 tonight for the win. Vizcaino right down the pipes. Jake Browning got them in field goal range. And redemption belongs to Tristan Vizcaino tonight. After missing an extra point, after missing a field goal from 30 yards, he wins the game with a 38-yard field goal attempt. One more look. And no doubt about it.
Talk about some clutch performances late in this game. Pettis with a catch, Fuller with a catch, Browning with some great throws and presence of mind as to where he was on the field, and then Vizcaino coming through with the kick. And Utah missed an opportunity. Yep. They could not close it out, couldn't get a first down, and left some time on the clock.
With about 3.5 minutes to go, they had the ball and the lead, and couldn't get that first down. There was the fumble by Huntley. He was fortunate enough to recover it, but they had to punt it away. And that's where the comeback trail began for the Washington Huskies.
You know you love a little Pac-12 after dark.
It's always thrilling, always interesting. And Washington earning its 9th win of the season.
Well, how about the grit of the Huskies bouncing back from last week?
Yes. After a disappointing loss, they win this one 33-30. So up next for the Huskies, Washington State coming to town. Apple Cup, Friday on ESPN. There'll be better days for Huntley and Utah. For Rod Gilmore and Quint Kessler, Guy Mark Jones, thanks for watching. Right now, SportsCenter coming up.